There was a time where like I didn't want to be a footballer. Like there was a times where I was just going for a period of time where I was just playing. I was terrible. Like I didn't want to play football anymore. I was just like, yeah, I've had enough. And then my dad was like, give me advice, you know, telling me like what I needed to hear, and I was like, yeah, like I'll come back.
At what age was that then? Was that like early teens?
It was only like before I got signed, so like I'd say about a year ago. It was just one training session, and then he brought me up to his office. He was like, "Oh, like is your mum there?" I was like, "Yeah." And then we went into the office. He was like, oh, "I think you've been like playing like amazing. Like we wanna sign it." And I was like, I didn't know what to say. My mum was just happy. Told my dad, told everyone. They was like, "Yeah, told." So then, probably like the week after, we had like my shirt, signing papers, press conference. Definitely signing for the first team. And probably starting at Bramble Lane. Like a stadium that I always grew up watching with like my dad. Like to actually play there, it was crazy. Like my first time, it was crazy. Yeah.
I can't imagine the pressure.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I was so nervous.
People, you know what time it is. It's the One Devotion. You're now watching the Daily Devotion podcast, live and direct. So talking about like representation in sport, but just in general, like who are your inspirations? And you don't have to say it, sister, by the way, it's cool. I'm joking.
Well, growing up in football, my aspirations, probably like Nikita Paris. She played for Arsenal, Man City. And she's mixed race, so I just thought like, yeah, I want to be like you when I grow up. But obviously I have my like family aspirations, like my dad, my mum. Yeah.
Your sister.
My sister.
Look, since we keep girl.
My sister.
It is important still, and I love how you obviously said that you gravitate towards people who look like you, because like how else are you going to be able to see yourself in a place where there isn't anybody who looks like you know? And it is important. I've never heard of that, Nikita. Nikita. So obviously that, you know what I mean, kind of half stepped there, kind of half stepped. Bliss. On the side note, like, who are your inspirations? Because obviously you're a very driven young lady, you know, aspirational, entrepreneurial, you know, fashionable, let's just put it out there, fashion nova. Who are your inspirations, you know?
My inspirations are probably like, entrepreneurs. Like at the minute, there's this lady called Lisa Milan. She's on the Real Housewives of Dubai. And she's a Jamaican woman living in Dubai. She's got her own business, like a multi-million-pound business. And obviously she's just come from like a normal family. And it's just very inspirational to me because like that's someone that I aspire to be like. I aspire to be like a very successful businesswoman one day. You know, living in Dubai and having a beautiful family and an amazing husband. So people like that are my inspiration when it comes to business. But my mom is like my biggest inspiration in life. I just feel like the things that she's taught me has made me like the woman that I am today. She basically taught me like, you know, you don't need a man for anything. Like she's achieved so much. You know, she's bought herself a beautiful house. Like growing up as a single parent, we always had like an amazing holiday, and like this is no disrespect to anyone else, but it weren't like your Benidorms or like, do you know what I mean, your average holidays. These was like 5-star luxury, Dubai, Thailand, like we've been all around the world, like, and that's just from my mom alone working hard enough, you know, to be able to support like me and my sister and like give us this lifestyle without having a man in the house. Do you know what I mean? So to me, she's inspired me. Like she is my inspiration.
Big up, mommy.
Absolutely.
Big up, mommy.
10 times.
And shout out that Jamaican lady there.
Lisa Milan. Real
Lisa
Housewives
Milan.
of Dubai. You need to watch it.
You know, and type Lisa still. And type Lisa. But like that taste, I wanna ask you that because you've had that early taste of, you know, luxurious, you know, holidays, you know, real quality time. You didn't say nothing about money, which I loved. It was, you know, experiences, you know, places to go. Did that taste from early of nice things, of the finer things in life, did that propel you more to be like, oh, I'm going to be on this even more?
Yeah, definitely. Like, my mum being able to do that, it just made me think, I want to give back to you. Like, one day, I'm going to give back to you everything that you've, like, got me and took me. So, yeah, definitely, like, I loved being able to, like, made me afford, took me to Jamaica. So, yeah.
But then it's also all the things like that aren't in the face of everybody else, like all the miles up and down, like obviously playing in academy, you're all over the country, you know, in the rain, you know, snow, providing that the games are still on, all of that, all of the pep talks, you know, the hard yards that no one sees, you know, people see, go on, sorry.
I feel like, like my mum, she'd take me to training and have to wait 2 hours until I finished. Like, if it wasn't for my mum taking me training, or if she wasn't able to take me, she'd have to find someone else to take me. So, like, she definitely, if it wasn't for her, I definitely wouldn't be the same footballer that I am. Her sacrificing, like, being able to take me there, petrol, it was a lot for my mum.
And your dad's obviously equally supportive because I see him at the game.
Yeah.
He was there, mum, dad, and everybody, oh, you know, Papa going for it. So equally they being supportive.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is obviously important to, you know, definitely big my dad up and say that he is supportive, but it's more like just because obviously she lives at home with my mom, it's just my mom that obviously does most of like, do you know what I mean, making like most of the effort. But yeah, my dad always calls her before every game, gives her the pep talk, you know, the pros and the cons. Like my dad's like on it when it comes to football, just equally, like, you know, they both put in the same amount of effort but in different ways, if that makes sense.
There was a time where like I didn't want to be a footballer. Like there was a times where I was just going for a period of time where I was just playing, I was terrible. Like I didn't want to play football anymore. I was just like, yeah, I've had enough. And then my dad was like, give me advice, you know, telling me like what I needed to hear, and I was like, yeah, like I'll come back.
At what age was that then? Was that like early teens?
It was only like before I got signed, so like I'd say about a year ago.
Is it?
Yeah.
That.
And look what's happened.
Yeah.
Like imagine if she would have given up.
I don't know. Like when it was a constant thing, like I wasn't getting better. Like I was just average. Like I wasn't playing like how I knew that I could play. And it was just getting to me like, I was like, yeah, nah, I don't want to do this again.
You're obviously a young lady with high expectations of yourself. Like you want to be the best.
Yeah.
And that pressure of falling short in your own mind is a hard one to contend with. How did you flip that? Because obviously dad's saying, no, pep talk, come on, think about it now. Nah, you've been playing for all these years, but what did you do, if anything, to make that transition? Because I'm sure your coaches and that would have seen that you are progressing, but in yourself, it's like, I'm not. So what changes did you implement at that time to say, no, I'm leveling up?
Well, I had like meetings and stuff with my coaches, and they was asking me like, what's the issue like? It was that bad, like yeah. So then that was it now. Like they've noticed it, I've noticed it. So then they would just be like, just giving me like advice and stuff. So when I got home, I was like, right, next training session, I'm working 100%. I'm doing everything right. And from that point on, I was just like, tunnel vision, like, yeah.
Sick. And then maybe a year or so later, you obviously, got offered a contract.
Yeah. That just like, I wouldn't say it did help me like carry on the football journey. Like it just motivated me even more to like you want to be a footballer.
So speak on that whole conversation, because obviously, as you said now, look, they've noticed it. We've obviously had a chat. It's been addressed. I'm gonna level up within myself. I'm gonna go 110% every session, and then they like break this news to you. Like, what does that conversation look like? Is it a text message? Is it you need to come to the office? Like
it
how?
was just one training session, and then he brought me up to his office. He was like, "Oh, like, is your mum there?" I was like, "Yeah." And then we went into the office. He was like, "I think you've been like playing like amazing. Like, we wanna sign it." And I was like, well, I didn't know what to say. My mum was just happy. Told my dad. Told everyone. They was like, "Yeah, it's hard." So then, probably like the week after, we had like my shirt, signing papers, press conference.
Jeez, congratulations. Congratulations. Come on. Yeah,
Press
levels.
conference. I was like, yeah, this is it. This is where I can like. That's what's gonna motivate me to wanna actually keep going.
Congratulations, still, fam. Congratulations. I've seen it. Obviously, sister, Keenan, Dre, auntie, everybody's. It's just everywhere. And yo, that's fun. You know, I was like, yo, is that what you're dealing with? Share up, kit. You know what I mean? Pause and thing. I said, yeah, that there. It's such a young age. Even like I said earlier, like how you handle your own aura, it's very controlled. Do you know what I'm saying? It's very mature. And you've done exceptionally well so far. Like there's still, as you know, a long way to go. But honestly, you smashed it, and it's a pleasure because, you know, we do have the narrative within the culture that, you know, that boy went down the wrong path, or this girl went off with this man and had child young and this and that. Circumstantially, yeah, those things can happen, and we have compassion for that. But in general, it's a beautiful thing, you know, because there will be young girls and boys, you know, in and out of that stadium, you know, at school now after you've left and whatever else, and they will see you and they'll be like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I can be that. That's the important thing.
What was it like dealing with school while all this was happening?
Well, what, sorry?
What was it like going to school and stuff like that while all this was happening?
I feel like it was just normal. Like I would just go to school like another day, and then the Saturday I would be playing at Bramall Lane. It's like,
it's mad. No more, you know. Because like, listen, I've been doing this. I should be here.
How do you deal with the pressures from your peers and stuff, like from school and stuff? Are they like now looking up to you and stuff like that, treating you differently?
Yeah, they would like congratulate me, and like I'd be in the news, like at the school news thing, and I'd be like the assembly, like the slideshows.
Sick.
But yeah, my school was very supportive. My head teacher always asking me like about my football, which was always nice.
Last question.
No, this.
How, at such a young age, do you deal with the pressure? Like, have you got like specific things that you do? Like, how do you deal with the pressure?
I try to just stay calm. Like, don't like over complicate things. Don't overthink too much. I just take it as it comes. To be honest.
Serious.
You know, I think it shocks me as well, like how humble she is. Like, I don't actually think it's even sunk in to like how big she actually is. Like, I go and watch her at Bramall Lane and I'm sat next to people and they're looking at me like, are you actually Chenè's sister? Like, really? And I'm like, yeah, that's my sister. And they're like, oh my God. Like, they're amazed, like how amazing she is. Do you know what I mean? So I think, like, having fans as well, I don't know, I just feel like it's not really sunk into it, like, how big this is. Like, you are playing at big Bramall Lane, do you know what I mean? And, like, you've got fans, like, that, like, you speak to... Yeah, it's crazy. It's honestly crazy.
Someone texted me the other day and was like, when I go to get a signed shirt for you that you've played in for my girlfriend for Christmas, I was just like,
Oh.
that is so cute.
No, that's proper still, and it's like, I bet you get a lot of love, you know, because when we watched the game a couple of weeks ago, when you got a knock, I was like, everyone, the whole energy in the stadium, in the ground, it was like, come on, Chen, come on, go on, you know, walk it off, you know what I mean? And, yeah, she gets up and everybody's like, yeah, you know, yeah, go on then. And obviously, yeah, had a bit of medical treatment, he went straight back on. You know, people want to see you win, you know, and do well. And I love how Shani speaks about your humbleness, but with that, there's this, you know, underlying belief, like, I actually belong here, you know, and I bet that's difficult being the youngest first team player. Now, we're talking, it's a different level of football in terms of like the physicality, tempo, tactics. Like, what's that transition like? Like, that jump?
Well, obviously academy. I feel that was my most enjoyable like years. Like, I was with my best friends there, like friends that I've made for life. Like, I feel like I just reached my max like ability there. Yeah. So like pushing onto the first team, I feel like it took a bit for me to get used to the physicality, getting shoved to the floor, but I just had to get back up and just deal with it, get in the gym. But definitely first team training has brought me on like lots. Yeah. Like the pace of it, making quicker decisions, it just brings you on a lot.
And like, obviously it's your new group now. Yeah. Obviously you've had your best years so far up to now, playing in the academy, your friends, you know, the band, whatever else. Whereas now I'm in a new group of other professionals, of ladies. And is there ever a feeling like, it's a bit awkward, I shouldn't really be here? Or do they embrace you as well?
Nah, definitely embrace me. Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm actually like in this like squad now, like we're all like a team. But yeah, I love it.
What position do you play?
Wing / striker.
Jeez, the pace is incredible, you know.
You remember scoring your first team goal?
I actually haven't scored yet. No. But because I feel like as soon as I come on, that's my aim to score. I feel like I just try, like I need to just like I'm trying to. That's what my dad said. Like, you trying it too hard to score. Like, it will eventually come, and when it does come, then you're gonna be banging it in every week. That's what it is.
What is the highlight of your career so far? Like from
definitely signing for the first team. And probably starting at Bramall Lane. Like a stadium that I've always grew up watching with like my dad. Like to actually play there, it was crazy. Like my first time, it was crazy. Yeah.
I can't imagine the pressure.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I was so nervous, especially starting as well. Like when you're on the bench, you can
Debut.
actually like watch the game and see. But obviously, like when you start, you straight on it. You straight. Yeah. So, but obviously the people was like, come on, like it's fine to be nervous. Like you got this. Like.
Got this.
But I was like.
What would you say is your best quality?
On the pitch.
Let's start on the pitch and off the pitch.
On the pitch, I'd probably say definitely my speed.
I'm gonna say that as well. She's rapid.
Like taking people on. But off the pitch, probably say I'm funny.
And confident with it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like definitely the pace is mad. I remember vividly, you almost like took a heavy touch, but got there, and I was thinking, was that a heavy touch or was it, I'm gonna knock it past you and beat you anyway? And I'm convinced it was. I'm just gonna knock it past you and get there first.
Probably.
Yeah, like I'm convinced. Yeah, just again, like, big up yourself. Interesting question as well. If you wasn't a football player, a professional football player, what career would you have kind of stepped into?
When I was younger, I wanted to be a police officer.
Yeah.
I used to wear the costume. I remember my nan took me to the police station to meet the officer.
What? You never told me this story.
I was like,
You were able to just go to the police station.
I don't know what. I don't know.
And Colonel.
As a black kid as well, just walking in. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to be a police officer, but obviously I feel like now, like I've always been like into like crime and stuff, but I feel like being a police officer now, I feel like because of the whole like the system and how it's like with racism and everything, I just feel like that path would not be for me. But now to say I don't really have like a plan B as to what I want to do. If say like I got injured and I couldn't play football.
If you got injured, it's rehab. You get back on the pitch, that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's rehab, ITAL food, you know, good food, which I'm sure you're having anywhere. And it's back in it. But as far as I'm concerned, we're not even going to talk them things into existence.